This is the kind of weapon that sounds fake until you see it fire. Then, a metal dart disappears into the sky at hypersonic speed. US Navy poured hundreds of millions into it. The headlines called it the future, and then it faded out, quietly. Here's the part that's messing with people right now. Railguns are suddenly back in the conversation because the Navy's proposed new guided missile battleship program is being pitched with sci-fi weapons on the shopping list.
Just how powerful the electromagnetic railgun is.
An electromagnetic railgun is a gun that uses just electricity, no gunpowder, and oh, by the way, can shoot a projectile like this, well over 100 miles at Mach 7.
Rear Admiral Fuller added that the EM railgun technology represents a new offensive capability for the U.S. Navy, allowing them to counter a wide range of threats at relatively low cost.
Railguns, lasers, hypersonics. So what actually happened? Did the railgun fail, or did it get shelved for a war that showed up early? Let's rewind, because the railgun wasn't just a gadget, it was a solution to a brutal logistics problem. Naval warfare today is inventory warfare. Missiles are devastating but expensive and finite, and you don't reload at sea like it's a video game. The Navy wanted something that could fire again and again without bleeding its missile magazines dry. The railgun pitch was simple. Use electricity to throw a projectile so fast it doesn't need explosives. Pure kinetic energy. And the Navy's tests weren't imaginary. ONR publicly showed multi-shot salvos and talked about ranges over 100 nautical miles and speeds beyond Mach 6. For a minute, it looked like the hard part was over, but that's how prototypes always look, right before reality shows up with a baseball bat. Reality was heat, wear, and barrel life. Every shot is controlled electrical violence, and the rails take that damage directly. You can fire it, but can you fire it enough times to matter? And the railgun wasn't just a gun, it dragged an entire ship problem behind it: power generation, energy storage, cooling, integration, because you don't casually dump massive electrical pulses on a warship and call it a day. By 2020, the vibe started changing. Even mainstream defense reporting was calling the railgun stuck in limbo, with budget documents showing it wasn't moving like a real program headed toward a fleet weapon. Then, the quiet kill shot. By 2021, the Navy canceled major pieces tied to the magic bullet that was supposed to make railguns practical, the guided hypervelocity projectile effort, citing cost and budget realities. People think the railgun died because it couldn't shoot far enough. That's not it. It could shoot. The problem was it couldn't shoot reliably enough for long enough without eating itself. And in the same era, the Navy had a new priority: putting hypersonic strike capability onto ships that actually exist. Here's the twist, though. Failed tech doesn't always disappear. Sometimes it gets stripped for parts. The railgun's legacy wasn't the gun, it was the idea. Fast, cheap-ish projectiles and deep magazines that could keep firing when missiles run out. Fast forward, late 2025, a proposed new class of guided missile battleship, BBGX, hits the public record. CRS summaries, press coverage, and Navy messaging start talking about a future ship stacked with advanced weapons, including railguns. Now let me be super clear. This does not mean a railgun is coming next year. This is proposal world, but the fact it's being name-dropped again tells you something. The Navy still wants the advantages railguns promised, especially against saturation attacks and cost-per-shot pressure. So why bring railguns back into the pitch? Because it signals ambition. It says, we're not just building a ship, we're building a weapons platform for the 2030s. That's also why lasers keep showing up in the same breath. But engineering doesn't care about vibes. If the railgun returns, it has to beat the same enemies: heat, erosion, power draw, integration complexity, and proving it can survive real operational tempo, not just test range glory shots. That's the railgun story in one line. It wasn't science fiction, it was engineering, and engineering is ruthless. The Navy didn't quit because the idea was dumb. It quit because the timeline didn't match the war it thought it needed to win first. And now, the railgun is a ghost. It shows up in proposals, in wish lists, in renderings, but until you see it mounted, maintained, and fired at sea like a normal weapon, it's still a question mark. So here's the real question. If the missile age is an inventory war, what replaces missiles when the inventory runs out? Because whatever that answer is, railgun, laser, something we haven't seen yet, that's the next era of naval power.